What if everything you thought you knew about Superman was a lie? What if instead of crashing in Smallville, Kansas, he had landed deep behind the Iron Curtain? This is Superman, Red Son, a story of power, ideology, and the thin line between hero and tyrant. A world where Superman is not the champion of democracy, but a weapon of communism. And it all begins with one simple twist of fate. Superman's story has been told countless times, but this one is different. In the heart of Soviet Russia, a boy is raised on communist ideals. His name is Kal-El, but soon the world will know him as Superman. Joseph Stalin, leader of the USSR, sees in him the perfect weapon, a being of unimaginable strength who could secure Soviet dominance for centuries. And so, the boy from Krypton is shaped into the ultimate defender of the communist dream. As America places its faith in nuclear weapons, the Soviet Union places its faith in him, and the world begins to shift. But even in this new world, political power remains a dangerous game. Joseph Stalin, the leader of the USSR, is found dead, poisoned. Some suspect internal sabotage. Others believe it was Superman himself, disgusted by Stalin's brutal policies. However, Pyotr later reveals to Superman that he poisoned his father. Superman rushes to save Stalin, but is too late. Stalin's sudden death throws the Soviet Union into chaos. The people turn to Superman. At first, he resists. He does not want to rule. But he cannot ignore the cries of millions, the devastating flaws in the communist system. Lines of desperate citizens, hungry and disillusioned, paint a stark picture of the empire he's sworn to protect. If I ran this place, there's no good reason why I couldn't take care of everyone's problems. In that moment, Superman makes a choice. He decides to lead. With his powers, intellect, and charisma, Superman assumes control of the Soviet Union. Under Superman's leadership, the Soviet Union transforms into a global superpower. But his methods blur the lines between savior and dictator. Surveillance, control, and forced compliance become the tools he uses to create what he sees as a utopia. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the Soviet Union, leaderless, found itself vulnerable, and the United States seized the moment. Nuclear stockpiles grew across Europe, and rumors began to spread of a new weapon, an American answer to Superman. They're calling it Bizarro, a twisted duplicate of the Soviet Superman. Born of stolen Kryptonian technology and crude experimentation, it was an imperfect reflection, strong but unstable. And when it crossed into Soviet territory, it triggered a confrontation of titans. Pardon my English, I just learned it minutes ago, but you are not welcome here, comrade. This territory is off limits. With diplomacy failing, fists became the language of the day. The two Supermen clashed in a battle of unmatched ferocity, but it quickly became clear Bizarro was not built to last. Unstable and unpredictable, Bizarro's powers spiraled out of control. X-rays irradiated the land for miles, leaving death and chaos in their wake. Meanwhile, as the chaos went on, a nuclear missile heading toward the heart of London. Naturally, Superman would instantly fly to the rescue, but not this time. When Bizarro's eyes locked with Superman's eyes for an instant, they knew it had to be one of them to stop this havoc from happening. Without a word, the American-made Superman blasts the red sin with freeze breath, immobilizing Superman as he flies away with the missile and sacrifices himself. Not all of Russia believes in Superman's dream. Some still remember the horrors of Stalin's rule, and one man more than any other is willing to fight back. It all begins with a boy who witnesses the horrors of the Soviet regime firsthand. His parents, branded dissidents, are down by the state. Their crime, a whisper of rebellion. Their executioner, Pyotr Roslov, Stalin's illegitimate son and head of the KGB. In those unflinching eyes, a seed of vengeance was planted. That boy grew up to become Batman, not a vigilante seeking justice, but a force of anarchy, born to dismantle the very system that destroyed his family. A ghost whispered about in the back alleys of Moscow. Operating from the shadows of an abandoned industrial complex, Batman became a living nightmare for the Soviet elite. He wasn't just a man in a mask. He was a symbol of rebellion. His targets, the infrastructure of Superman's ironclad regime. His methods, explosions, sabotage, and terror. Batman's attacks pushed the Soviet military to its breaking point. He evaded their traps with precision, turning every chase into an elaborate game of cat and mouse. To the regime, he was a lunatic. To the oppressed, he was a legend. But not everyone in power dismissed him as a madman. In a desperate move, Roslov sought an alliance with Batman. A man willing to kill Superman, Roslov claimed to have discovered a weakness in the alien's invulnerability, information obtained through Lex Luthor and the CIO. But Batman wasn't swayed by politics. His hatred for the regime wasn't limited to Superman. It extended to Roslov, a man he deemed no better than the tyrant he served. For Batman, the fight was personal. He didn't just want to topple Superman. He wanted vengeance against the entire system, the KGB, the bureaucracy, and even Roslov himself. He swore on the memory of his parents that no one responsible for their deaths would escape his wrath. Batman's war wasn't just waged in the shadows. He challenged Superman in broad daylight, or in this case, under the glare of fireworks. On Superman's birthday, the symbol of rebellion lit up the Moscow sky. Batman set up a trap for Superman in deserted Serbian camp, using Wonder Woman as bait. He set up a series of red light lamps. Stolen technology from Lex Luthor. For the first time, the Man of Steel feels powerless. The red light mimics the sunlight from his home planet that weakens him, making him almost mortal. With Superman struggling with this new reality, Batman attacks him with strong tactical blows, making the Man of Steel bleed. I guess steel bleeds after all. But before Batman can strike the final blow, Wonder Woman makes the ultimate sacrifice. She breaks her own lasso and knocks down Batman as she charges toward the generator that powers the red sun rays. With the red light off, Superman is freed and comes back up with full force. Batman certainly expected this and had planned for it. He had installed an explosive inside his chest, and when he's cornered, he triggers the detonator and blows himself up. Superman is left in shock as blood splashes on him. Meanwhile, when Wonder Woman breaks her lasso of truth, her divine connection takes a heavy hit, and something changes about Diana. She ages in minutes and her Amazonian strength is gone. While Superman reshaped the Soviet Union, the United States had been searching for its own answer to the Man of Steel. And deep within a classified military facility, they found it. A relic from beyond the stars. The corpse of an intergalactic warrior. The discovery was decades old, a secret buried under layers of classified reports. But now with Superman's empire tightening its grip on the world, America had no choice but to dig up its last hope. At first they believed it was just a ring, a powerful artifact, but nothing more. But as they studied it, they realized the truth. The ring was not just a tool, it was a gateway, a connection to something far greater, a power as old as the universe itself, and it could be replicated. Using the aliens' technology, Luthor cracked the code. He found a way to harness the ring's energy and distribute it to an entire army. And so the Green Lantern Corps was reborn, not as cosmic peacekeepers, but as America's final weapon against Superman. And then, without warning, they came. For the first time in his life, Superman felt something new, uncertainty. Superman had faced many enemies before, but this was different. This was not one man with a weapon. This was an army wielding a force as powerful as his own. But Superman is not just a man. He was a force of nature. And as much as the Green Lanterns fought, he was still faster, stronger, relentless. The Lanterns retreat. And as the dust settles, as the last Green Lanterns fled, a new voice echoed across the city. Meanwhile, Brainiac confronts, "Superman, your leadership has proven inefficient. It is time for a more logical administration." Brainiac had always served him, or so he thought, but the machine had been waiting, calculating the perfect moment to strike. The Soviet Union was falling, and its greatest champion was powerless to stop it. Superman had tried to build a utopia, but in the end, he had only built another empire doomed to collapse. Which version of Superman do you want to see next? Superman with the power of a lantern ring? Ultimate Superman with a white suit? Or maybe a zombie Superman? The list is endless. Let me know in the comments what you think of Red Sun Superman and your favorite moments in this storyline. Like and subscribe for more epic content.